Alright, this is what I've got so far. As you can see here, I've got the valley completely exposed. I usually check these here for leaks. There's two O-rings that go inside this tube here, and when they fail, you'll end up with a leak that comes off the back of the motor and drops down through basically where your rear main is, and you end up with a leak. It'll show on the, wherever you park, you'll see that. But obviously it's wet now, but that's just because I had antifreeze in here that came from other points. But anyways, these were actually dry, so I'm not going to worry about those. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and clean all this up all the way back and get it nice and prepped for the new gaskets and the new intake. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I've got as far as parts. One more quick tidbit: I did have to take off the throttle body assembly here in the plenum. The reason being is that it made it easier for there's two 10mm bolts that were directly under here that held on the intake, and it made it easier for me to get to that. I think that's about it. I think I pretty much mentioned everything else. There are some clips that are on the back of the intake, like this one here, that you had to basically pull out of the intake manifold. There's a recessed area for it. If you don't pull that out, it kind of holds it up. This one here broke on me. I might have one that I can retape on there, but I don't think I'm going to worry about it. Those get brittle and they end up breaking. There's one here, for example. You can see how they're discolored like that. When they're new, they're white, and they get, over time, they lose their elasticity and they become brittle, and they'll break on you. So, but it's not that huge of a deal. So don't worry about that. And as for the parts, I've already got them here, and I'm going to get ready for reassembly. This is the intake manifold here. This is an original Ford piece. You can see it's got the Ford stamp on it here. Dorman makes one of these, and they suck, so I'd advise against that. Here's the part number, Ford Racing M9424-P46, and this is the PI intake manifold. This was actually an upgrade for any Mustang that was a 96. 96, 95 was the last year of the 5.0, and then 96 was the first year the Mustang was introduced with the single overhead cam 4.6. So 96 to 98, you did not have this PI intake, and if you were to combine this intake with the PI heads that matched, you would end up with approximately 30 to 40 more horsepower, and you basically have more of a responsive vehicle. The 96 to 98s were kind of weaker in that respect. But anyways, going on. These are the intake manifold gaskets that were on the vehicle. There's a point of failure here. It's cracked. As you can see, it's bowed in. It should be straight. This should be a straight line here. So there's the point of failure there. And this side, that side seems okay. That side looks like it was coming apart a little bit. And there's a point of failure here. That side's come apart there. You can see that clearly on both sides. And this thing was not gushing antifreeze, so it wasn't a big deal. But I'm going to show you here. These are the standard intake manifold gaskets that you can get, and I think they run about, I don't know, 30 bucks or something like that, 25 or 30 bucks. But these are the ones that I use. MS98008T1, and I'll show you exactly why I use these. As you can see right off the bat, this is made out of a metal material. It's Velcro. Grab the other one. I mean, these are like Terminator gaskets compared to these. As you can see here, that would be the same gasket as that, and plastic and flexible and flimsy, and these are solid gaskets. I wouldn't see replacing these gaskets for a very long time. So anyways, those are the parts that I'm using. What I'm doing at this point excuse me, is I'm going to swap over the fuel injector rail, the thermostat. I'm going to suggest a new thermostat, but at this point the thermostat was okay. I wasn't giving any issues, and wasn't leaking out of here. Car wasn't overheating, and it is a Motorcraft. I think I might have done this thermostat recently, so I'm not going to deal with that, I don't think. I'm going to swap over the temp sensor here, and also this coolant for the heater core, the coolant hose here. And I'll be back on the next round. I'll show you here when it gets cleaned up and put in here. All right. YouTube all muscle back with this intake manifold removal and install. I've got the valley here all cleaned up. Since you don't really get a chance to see the valley too often, I went ahead and took the opportunity and cleaned this whole area up. And I've got the intake ports as cleaned up as I can. And also at this point, what I'm going to be doing is the reverse of what I did to disassemble. I'm going to reassemble everything. What I'm going to do also, I forgot to mention, is I'm going to be replacing the spark plugs. Spark plugs here, Motorcrafts. These are the fine wire SP471 fine wire platinums. When I pulled the old plugs, somebody had put a nice set of champions in there. I don't even know. I didn't even know they still sold these, except for like at Sears for like weed eaters and lawnmowers and stuff. So somebody actually spent money on replacing their spark plugs with some champions. Anyways, some carb cleaner to help clean up the gasket area. Anything else? I think that's about it. So right now I'm trying to finish this job before it gets dark on me, and I can't see anything anymore. So I'm gonna try to finish this up. One thing you want to do, I want to point out, is there's these areas here. Usually they get filled up with dirt. One on the front, one on the back, on both sides of the head. Okay, what you're gonna want to do is make sure you put a small screwdriver or something in there and pick out all the contaminants, dirt particles, whatever you find in there. And again, there's 4 of these points, 2 on each head, and these are the points where the dowel pins actually go down that line up your gaskets. If you don't have those cleaned out, your gasket doesn't sit flush against the head and could cause a problem. So I usually clean all those out. But anyways, as you can see here, I've got this whole area cleaned up pretty nice. And again, what I'll do is I'll probably take a final video just of the vehicle running. That way I can pretty much show you that it's complete. So anyways, everything goes back in reverse order, and that's this is going to be the home stretch at this point. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. Alright guys, that's mission complete there. This is the car up and running again. Everything's put back together. All in all, it took me about maybe 2.5 hours. But I did a lot of cleaning. I did a lot of cleanup work. You can get this job done in about an hour if you just put it together. But there she is. She's running nice and healthy. That's it. That's the end of that one. Got dark on